Problem is that you have to go after the racist people. And if be the CEO goes, you know what? I'm not going to allow a woman on my show or man that will go after white America and talk about them like dogs. That doesn't represent our ideals or values for anyone. And get rid of those people. And this will clear up real quick. So do you have to actually look in the mirror and clean up your own backyard and get the racist people out? Because that's who you allowed in. You allowed black racist on TV who could just go all day and say anything about white people. And I guess lo and behold, they forgot that there's a lot of people at home, white people at home during the day that are not watching your show anymore. So just clean it up.
Everything is falling apart at The View. And this time, there's no coming back. The once powerful daytime talk show just got hit with a live TV meltdown so outrageous, it's got insiders whispering the word cancellation. Behind the smiles and coffee mugs lies a war zone of egos, politics, and explosive fights, and the latest battlefield clash? Whoopi Goldberg versus Judge Jeanine Pirro, with Tim Scott and Tyrus firing back like never before.
It's not even that. In The View, you don't need to find Trumpers. You need to fire your race baiters.
Yeah.
You need to fire the two races. You've had people. You had a McCain on there. You've had people on there before, and you ran them off. Mm-hmm. So the racist ones who want to stick to this, Whoopi and Sonny, and was it Bette Midler? What's her name? The broke-ass Bette Midler. Fire them and bring people in. Maybe you could get McCain to come back. She was a Republican, but every show and every break, she was nearly in tears because she was being attacked.
Let's be real. The View hasn't been a talk show for years. It's been a full-blown propaganda parade wrapped in emotional outbursts, virtue signaling, and anti-conservative hysteria. But now, after years of pushing boundaries and shielding their own from accountability, the chickens have come home to roost. And it's ugly. It all started when Republican presidential candidate Tim Scott dared to step into the lion's den. The View's liberal panel tried their usual ambush routine, but this time, it backfired spectacularly. Instead of a polite back and forth, Tim Scott gave them a lesson in class, composure, and facts, while the hosts fumbled, interrupted, and flailed in real time. Viewers weren't just watching an interview, they were witnessing the complete unraveling of a show that's lost its grip on reality. And just when you thought the chaos had peaked, enter Tyrus.
Conversations with people you're not comfortable with.
Right.
And what we saw on that show was Whoopi was going down, her own personal beliefs were coming out, and her peers said she's hanging herself. Let's enjoy the fire.
Really? You think that?
Behar said, ask her a question again to get her to repeat it. Then you saw when your friend has been suspended, she's gone.
A former pro wrestler turned political truth bomb technician, Tyrus didn't just criticize The View, he incinerated it. Speaking on a Fox News panel, Tyrus tore into Whoopi and the rest of the hosts, calling out their double standards, their selective outrage, and the absolute hypocrisy they wear like designer scarves. It wasn't just a critique, it was a televised execution. You can't demand tolerance, Tyrus said, when your entire brand is built on bullying anyone who thinks differently. The room went silent. The internet exploded. And suddenly, Whoopi Goldberg's past was dragged right back into the spotlight. You remember the scandal? When Whoopi tried to rewrite history on national television, saying the Holocaust wasn't about race? That wasn't a slip-up. That was a window into the kind of warped logic that somehow gets a pass on daytime TV. She was slapped with a 2-week suspension. But let's be honest, that was a PR stunt. The network rushed to bring her back like nothing happened, proving once again there are no rules for their chosen voices. But now, the insiders are talking. Reports are swirling that Whoopi Goldberg threatened to walk off the show permanently after a heated backstage confrontation over her suspension. And guess what? The network didn't cave this time. Instead, she was briefly sidelined, left humiliated, and scrambling to maintain relevance as the audience grows more fed up by the day. So when Tyrus stood up and torched them on live TV, it wasn't just another soundbite, it was a warning shot. Welcome to the beginning of the end for The View. And then there's Sunny Hostin.
What's also surprising to me is the abortion issue. I read a poll just yesterday that white Republican suburban women are now going to vote Republican.
Why?
It's almost like roaches voting for Raid, right?
I think
like
that's
they're voting.
No, it's insulting to the voter.
They're voting against their own self-interest.
Who didn't just make a political comment, she straight up slandered millions of white women across America simply because they had the audacity to vote Republican. On national television, she reduced an entire group of voters to brainwashed traitors, throwing around labels like it was open season on Common Sense. It wasn't commentary, it was a full-blown smear campaign wrapped in smug elitism.
Listen, they're bitter, they're angry, they're entitled. They also should be. This should have been a reset for everyone who pushed lies and misinformation for the last. They called him Hitler, they call these things. America rejected them. And instead of coming back and saying, we lied, they instead are now doubling down. So let her keep doing it, because if she keeps that up, we're going to keep getting the Senate and probably the House and the White House, because people see right through your lies. So keep doing what you're doing. Game ball to Sunny.
Let's talk about Joy Behar, the reigning drama queen of daytime TV, who's made a full-time job out of spewing wild, uninformed nonsense. Her latest meltdown? A shameless jab at Speaker Caroline Leavitt that sounded more like a jealous dig than political commentary. Behar actually said, "I think she's probably been put in there because, according to Donald Trump, she's a 10. That's not analysis. That's petty high school gossip disguised as a political take. Behar wasn't trying to inform. She was trying to insult. This isn't a talk show anymore. It's a circus of elite liberal tantrums, where unfiltered rants and shallow smears get passed off as bold truth-telling. But now, the tide's turning. Enter Tyrus. He's not just calling out The View, he's dismantling it, piece by piece. On November 15th, 2024, just after Trump's stunning election win, Tyrus joined Greg Gutfeld's panel and lit a fire under the legacy media's feet. A story in 5 words. The times are a-changin', he said, as the panel ripped into Hollywood for pretending to embrace conservative voices after years of blacklisting them. The LA Times was replacing its editorial board. Hollywood execs suddenly wanted diverse opinions. And The View? They were scrambling, desperately searching for a Trumper to join their cast. Yes, the same show that mocked conservatives for years now wants one at the table. Why? Because they're losing viewers and hemorrhaging credibility. Tyrus was stunned, and he wasn't done. He brought up Meghan McCain and exposed the way Whoopi and her crew bullied her off the set. The constant interruptions, the cold dismissals, the smug condescension. It was a hit job masked as debate. And Tyrus said it flat out. The treatment wasn't just hostile, it was racially charged. But since it came from the right side politically, it was ignored. The View isn't evolving, it's crumbling. And now, as voices like Tyrus rise and the old liberal echo chambers collapse, America is finally seeing these media elites for what they really are: bitter, desperate, and wildly out of touch. And let's be honest, Tyrus didn't just speak up, he named names, took aim, and fired with precision. No sugarcoating, no walking it back, just raw truth, and the audience ate it up. The clip went viral, and for good reason. Tyrus didn't flinch. He called out The View's hypocrisy loud and clear, and it landed hard. But that wasn't a one-off moment, not even close. After Donald Trump's shocking victory in the 2024 election, the left absolutely imploded. Legacy media scrambled, pundits melted down, and The View? They went completely unhinged on live TV. It was a meltdown so epic, it deserves its own documentary. Sunny Hostin went off the rails, saying, "Latinos in Texas, a district that's 97% Latino, went 75% for Trump. Why? Misogyny." And Whoopi followed it up with something even more absurd. "No, it's on the border. It's toxic." That's the kind of delusional logic being peddled to millions every day. But Tyrus wasn't having it. When this circus clip hit the airwaves, he took the gloves off. Appearing on Fox and Friends first, he shredded the entire narrative in one brutal segment. No fancy language, just a cold, clear takedown of the elitism, race-baiting, and excuse-making that's become The View's brand. He said what everyone else was thinking, but too scared to say. The View's hosts are more focused on pushing divisive narratives than accepting reality, and their refusal to admit that millions of minorities, women, and working-class Americans support Trump, that's not journalism, that's denial on full display. Tyrus isn't just exposing them, he's dismantling their grip on the national conversation, one segment at a time. And there it is, folks. Tyrus didn't just criticize The View, he torched them on live TV. No filter, no mercy. From tearing apart Whoopi's wild takes to dismantling Sunny's nonsense in real time, he left nothing standing. You couldn't script a better takedown if you tried. So here's the question. Was this the ultimate roast of Whoopi and her crew? Or is it finally time for The View to call it quits and fade into irrelevance? Sound off, because this war of words is far from over.